In your spiral press, till my sweet juices flow goddess. Will the end hurting, hurting, into darkness. In your spiral press, my sweet juices flow goddess. Will the end is turning, turning.
Fruit, fruit. Push, push. Push, push. Yeah.
Well, Susan, you want to tell us some of the benefits of drinking apple cider?
Makes you happy.
We like
Well,
that.
actually, what we're making right now, interestingly enough, is apple juice. And there's a lot of free sugar in it. And if you taste it, it tastes really, really sweet. Of course, most of the good of the apple is in the pulp and in the skin. And recent studies have found that drinking fruit juices is actually not very healthy for you because the really important parts of the fruit don't get into the juice. So what are we doing pressing all these apples into juice? What we're going to do is we're going to let that juice start to ferment. And it does not have to ferment very much. Michael, just hang on. I'm doing my best. It's really kind of awkward, okay?
So you're going to let that juice ferment.
We're going to let it ferment. And we're not even talking about what you would notice as fermentation. Within about 3 days, the sugars are going to start being converted, and not to alcohol, but to other compounds that will actually maximize the nutritive value of the juice that we have, and more importantly, will make sure that we go into the winter with really strong gut flora. You know, I often talk about the 3 traditions of healing: the wise woman tradition, and the heroic tradition, and the scientific tradition. And in many ways, these are quite different from each other. But where they all absolutely agree is that the basis of health is good gut flora. And when New York State made it illegal to sell apple cider, raw apple cider, and insisted that preservatives be put in, and preservatives, of course, damage your gut flora, I went out and bought a cider press. I figured my first gallon of raw cider cost me $1,000, and every gallon since then has been just the cost of the apples. We live here in the Hudson River Valley, one of the biggest apple growing regions in the world, certainly in the United States, and for sure in the northeast part of the United States. So we have access to big bins of apples at reasonable prices. As we all know, Ulster County was hurricaned pretty severely. We're a national disaster area. And so we had to pay a little more for our apples this year. We paid $75 for 1,000 pounds of apples this year. In other years, depending on what was available, we have paid far less. So
There's the fruits of their labor, apple cider. And the bin of apples. Right here. Wow, look at all those apples. That is nice looking. Apples.